Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Curious Kingdom. Today we are recapping a fantasy comedy movie Super Bobrovs. In the dimly lit night along the Russian coast, Oleg aids a group of smugglers in an illicit endeavor to snatch a ton of caviar using a small boat. Despite offering more money, the hired sailor opposes the idea, highlighting the boat's weight limit of 600 kilos. Undeterred, Oleg resorts to a clever ploy. Pretending to call his wife, he secretly communicates with the smuggler to declare that the cargo weighs 600 kilos, convincing the sailor to accept it. The scheme succeeds, and Oleg manages to load the caviar onto the boat. However, their voyage is short-lived as both the boat and its cargo gradually sink, compelling the men to swim ashore. The sailor demands compensation for the damage caused to his boat, leading Oleg to trade his own new car for the sailor's dilapidated vehicle and accrue a 1 million debt to the smugglers. The following day, Oleg seeks a loan from his girlfriend Sveta, who works at a bank. Unfortunately, she is unable to grant him the loan since he hasn't finished repaying a previous one. Sveta suggests seeking assistance from her family, who own a house, as an alternative solution. Reluctant due to his disdain for Sveta's family, Oleg reluctantly agrees, realizing it is his only option. They drive to Sveta's family home, where the entire family resides together. The family members include Sveta's father, Boris, who sings peculiar songs and has been a recluse for 5 years due to being a wanted man. Her maternal grandfather Pavel, who longs for his own demise. Her sister Rita, an accountant at the theater with dreams of becoming a performer. Her brother Tolik, unable to join the army due to asthma but finds solace in training dogs. And her sister Sasha, a young girl daydreaming about adulthood and harboring a crush on Sveta's boyfriend. Oleg attempts to discuss his financial predicament with Boris, but must wait until Boris finishes his singing. When Boris finally listens to Oleg's plea, he becomes agitated, perceiving the sale of the house as equivalent to selling his family into slavery. Oleg tries to reassure Boris, explaining that no one will lose anything, and he only needs a guarantor's letter. However, Boris staunchly refuses. Suddenly, their argument is interrupted by a meteorite crashing through the roof and striking Pavel inside the house. Initially fearing an attack, the family retreats outside but soon realizes the celestial event unfolding as a meteorite shower in the sky. Returning inside, they tend to Pavel, carrying him to bed. Oleg and the siblings then embark on extracting and selling the meteorite. However, one by one, the siblings fall asleep, leaving Oleg to dig alone. By morning, Oleg emerges from the hole, only to find Pavel calling him from his deathbed. Oleg suggests calling an ambulance, but Pavel declines, expressing his desire to depart peacefully. Before passing away, Pavel imparts a final message for Oleg to deliver to his family: they can all go to hell. Confirming Pavel's passing, Oleg rushes to Sveta to relay the news. However, Sveta is deeply asleep and pays no attention. Eventually, Oleg also succumbs to sleep next to her. Later, when Tolik arrives to show him something, they discover Sveta missing. Following Tolik to the living room, they find the meteorite transformed into a strange liquid. Sasha has acquired super strength, and Rita can fly. Sveta soon reappears, half of her body invisible, and Pavel miraculously joins them, alive and well. But when Rita loses control and plummets from the sky through the roof, Pavel passes away once more while Sveta becomes fully visible. They assist Rita back inside and restrain her to prevent further floating, causing Pavel to awaken again. They conclude that their special abilities only function when they are all together. Seeking an explanation, they consult a doctor who assures them of their physical well-being. The interruption they experience upon separation appears to be an inherent aspect of their powers. During dinner, they discuss what to do with their newfound abilities. Rita yearns to perform, but Pavel fears their exploitation if their powers become public knowledge. Meanwhile, Tolik discovers he can now understand his dogs, and Oleg suggests they appear on TV to be paid for their powers. However, Boris adamantly rejects the idea, refusing to subject his family to such exploitation. As they retire for the night, Oleg inquires about the money kept in the bank, while Sveta wonders about the possibility of invisible children. The next day, Pavel's suicide attempt fails, as he can only die when separated from his family. Boris discovers his teleportation power when using the bathroom and straining excessively. Realizing they need a break to cope with their abilities, the family embarks on a vacation and goes fishing by a lake. As Boris learns to control his power, Oleg shares his plan with everyone. They should collaborate to rob a bank. Sveta's invisibility allows her to enter and exit with the money while the rest wait in the car, ensuring Sveta retains her ability. Rita, Tolik, and Sasha agree to the plan, but Boris continues to resist, even stating he doesn't care if Oleg leaves and they lose their powers. Enraged, Oleg gets in the car, and Sveta follows after, instructing the family to place Pavel's body in the basement until their return. While driving, Oleg tries to convince Sveta that their plan is sound, but they are suddenly forced to pull over by another car. It turns out to be the smugglers demanding their money. Oleg explains he can obtain it within a month, but they refuse to accept that and give him a week to pay, threatening to sell his organs on the black market. After the smugglers leave, Sveta finally comprehends that Oleg's debt not only involves money but also endangers his life. Consequently, she agrees to assist him. The next day, the couple takes Boris to see a wonderful new house they could purchase if they execute the plan. Initially dismissive, Boris eventually relents when Sveta tearfully appeals for his help, acknowledging that it's the first time she has sought his assistance. He agrees to rob the bank. After discussing the details, the family celebrates the promising future ahead. However, Sasha repeatedly interrupts Oleg and Sveta whenever they attempt to spend some private time together. The next morning, Sveta goes to great lengths to impress Oleg, even putting on makeup. To Oleg's surprise, each family member starts imposing conditions for their collaboration in the bank robbery plan. Pavel wants to be cremated after the robbery. Rita wants to perform her flying act in front of an audience, and Sasha wants to go on a date with Oleg. Oleg finds their demands excessive and initially refuses to cooperate. However, Boris reprimands him, emphasizing that if he wants to be part of the family, he must reciprocate their assistance, or the deal is off. Forced into a corner, Oleg agrees to fulfill everyone's wishes. They visit the theater where Rita works to schedule her performance, and later, while in bed with Sveta, Oleg finally discovers his power, the ability to pour water out of his finger. Sveta points out its usefulness for watering plants. The following morning, Sasha accompanies the couple as they scout the bank they plan to rob, ensuring it is not the same one where she works to avoid suspicion. During their discussion, Sasha raises the question of what would happen if Sveta were caught and sent to jail, wondering who would take care of Oleg. Amused, Sveta plays along and assures Sasha that she can handle it. Upon returning home, they learn that Tolik has shaved his head because he has been accepted into the army. Boris is saddened by his son's departure, but Oleg's mind remains focused on the plan. He uses his connections to rectify the situation and convinces the army to inform Tolik that it was a mistake. Tolik, furious and upset by the turn of events, reluctantly accepts Boris' happiness at the army's supposed change of heart. Oleg comforts Tolik, promising to help him once they have robbed the bank, which earns Tolik's trust as he hugs Oleg. They then visit a funeral home to arrange for Pavel's cremation, receiving a piece of paper for Pavel to wear, indicating that he should be taken to the home upon discovery of his lifeless body. Later, Oleg takes Sasha out for lunch at a fancy restaurant while the family observes from a distance. Sveta invisibly sits next to them to monitor her sister. Sasha expresses her desire to leave with Oleg after the robbery, unable to tolerate her family any longer. Before Oleg can decline her request, they are interrupted by the presence of the smugglers, who happen to be dining at the same restaurant. The smugglers approach Oleg and Sasha, prompting Sasha to realize their malicious intent. Without hesitation, she stands up and confronts them physically. The family flees the scene to avoid trouble, causing Sasha to lose her super strength and ultimately leaving the smugglers behind. Later that night, the family spends time listening to Tolik's dog singing the national anthem. The next day, the family prepares to execute their plan. Oleg parks the car across the street under the sun, as Boris points out that the shadowed alley has a no parking sign. Since Sveta's power renders only her body invisible, she removes her clothes before entering the bank alongside Oleg, who is also invisible. Sveta discreetly follows the bank employees to learn their passwords and safe codes, while Oleg takes a picture of the floor map for potential escape routes. Meanwhile, Boris becomes tired of the sun and decides to move the car to a small alley to enjoy fresher air. However, this presents a problem since that particular area is reserved for the bank's armored truck. When the truck arrives, the family is asked to move, but Boris refuses to prevent Sveta from becoming visible. With no other options, the guards use their own truck to push the family's car aside. As Sveta materializes in front of an employee and a startled client, the family hastily contacts Oleg, who rushes outside and helps them carry Pavel's body to the front of the bank, ensuring everyone remains close to Sveta. Sveta promptly regains her powers and disappears, causing the two individuals who saw her to question their own perception. The family prepares to leave but is stopped by the police, who only wish to check on their well-being. Boris, believing he is a wanted man, unintentionally teleports into the police truck and is subsequently arrested. Hours later, Oleg manages to secure Boris' release, but not without sacrificing another car. Upon returning home, Oleg berates the family for their misbehavior and insists that there should be no more arguments or misuse of their powers. The next day, the family accompanies Rita to the theater as part of their agreement. However, when it is her turn to perform, Rita becomes overwhelmed by stage fright upon seeing a large crowd, including familiar faces. She abruptly flies out of the theater, no longer willing to perform. Oleg chases after her but is intercepted by the smugglers, who forcibly bring him onto the stage and subject him to physical abuse, turning him into an unwitting spectacle. After the ordeal, Oleg, angry and injured, lashes out at the family for their repeated failures, labeling them lazy, selfish, and technologically advanced fools who squander their potential. Fed up, Oleg declares his intention to leave, severing ties with the family. Boris, however, devises a plan and decides to kidnap Oleg. Under the cover of darkness, the family returns to the bank, ready to carry out the robbery. While Pavel distracts some intoxicated men by drinking fuel and breathing fire, the rest of the family covers their faces and prepares to take action. Sasha positions a truck in the street to conceal their activities, and with a chain attached to the window, she creates an opening in the bank's wall. Boris teleports inside, and Sasha throws Sveta through the opening, allowing Rita to lift her and fly her into the bank alongside the others. Sveta employs the acquired codes to disable the alarm system, and Sasha effortlessly lifts and throws the safe out onto the street. As the family collects the money and loads it into the car, the police arrive. However, Talik distracts them by commanding the dogs to intervene. Once they have gathered all they can, the family escapes, with Pavel leaving a trail of fire behind him as he runs. As they distance themselves from the bank, they stop to celebrate. Pavel seizes the moment to remind them of the final part of their deal and asks them to leave him behind so he can finally pass away. Despite their instincts to help, Pavel adamantly insists, yelling at them to honor his wishes. Boris suggests they continue living together as a happy family, but Oleg reminds him that the flawed execution of their plan and the inevitable attention from the police make it impossible for them to stay. Furthermore, he and Sveta have already made plans to go to Thailand, and Talik will be leaving for Moscow, and Sasha and Rita will leave for Brazil. The girls propose that Boris accompany them, but before he can respond, Pavel informs them that he has alerted the police to locate his soon-to-be lifeless body. With no time to waste, the family decides to leave for good. Witnessing her grandfather's imminent passing deeply affects Sveta, who later refuses to take her share of the money when Oleg begins to divide it. She suggests returning the money, but Oleg adamantly refuses, resulting in Sveta kicking him out of the car and declaring that she no longer wants to be with him. Disillusioned by the unchanged nature of the family, Oleg departs and attends to his own affairs. He repays the smugglers his debt and conceals the remaining money by taping it to his body under his clothes. Ready to depart the country at the airport, he sees on the news that the family has been arrested for attempting to retrieve Pavel's body from the funeral home. Initially, Oleg tries to ignore the news, but the guilt becomes overwhelming, prompting him to return to town and offer his help. His first stop is the funeral home, where he attempts to bribe an employee to release Pavel's body. However, due to high demand, the employee demands an exorbitant sum of 1 million. Left with no other choice, Oleg pays the requested amount and takes Pavel with him to the courtroom where the family is on trial. Upon entering, everyone regains their powers, leading to chaos. Boris teleports out of the cage and joins Pavel in confronting the people present, while Sasha breaks open the cage to free her sibling. Together, they overpower several officers as others flee the scene. With the family reunited, Boris acknowledges that Oleg is officially part of the family due to their collective involvement in the outrageous plan. Outside, a group of armed police officers awaits them, but Rita distracts them by pretending to be a religious apparition, allowing the family to steal a car and escape. However, the police soon regain their composure and give chase through the city. Boris teleports inside one of the police cars to divert them. Sasha uses her super strength to push others away, and Oleg cleans the car's dirty mirror with the water he pours from his finger. Sasha employs her strength once more to execute a sudden turn, causing the police vehicles to collide with each other, except for one. They eventually manage to elude their pursuers when Rita ascends and lifts the car off the ground while flying. Some time later, the family meets with the smugglers and pays them to hide them in one of their containers, enabling them to escape to Thailand without detection. Now, they have 20 days ahead where their only company will be each other. That's all for today, folks. Like, share, and subscribe for more such content. Curious Knight signing off. Stay safe, stay curious.